Hey folks, welcome back to Lone Pine Tarot. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day today. Now for today's pick a card reading, quite straightforward. We're just doing a good old-fashioned what is the most important message that the universe or spirit wants you to hear. So we'll see what comes through. For picking our piles today, we have 3 different oracle cards that I already drew, so let's introduce them now. Pile 1 over here on the left, your pile leader is Priestess. Pile 2 here in the middle, your pile leader is Destiny. And over here on the right for our wonderful pile 3, your leader is the card of Curiosity. So pile 1, Priestess, pile 2, Destiny, pile 3, Curiosity. Though, as I always say, of course, you're perfectly welcome to pause right here if you need more time to decide what pile you would like read for you. But when you are ready and have decided following your intuition, please drop down to the description box below, find the timestamp for your pile, and I will see you in our exciting chat about the most important message the universe has for you right now. See you in your readings, everyone. Hello there, my wonderful pile number 1. Welcome to your important message from the universe reading for today. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to Priestess as your pile leader. So in a little bit of a switcheroo, we're actually going to draw your oracle cards first today. So let's first set your pile leader over here to the left as always and draw those oracle cards. So calling on spirit, the universe for pile 1. What is it that you want them to know? What's most important for them to know right now? Thank you. Okay, that one for sure wanted to pop out. And then we will also take that one. And then let's do your Citadel Oracle. Drawn to that one. And then our last oracle deck is the Sacred Destiny today. And let's see what card you get for that one. Actually, I'm feeling drawn to that one for you, pile 1. We'll pull that one for you. Okay, so for the Sacred Destiny, today you received Solitude. We have a boat on the water with the moon overhead. Okay, and then from the Citadel Oracle today, you received the Cartographer with the element of air, and the keywords are a crossroads or exploration. It's especially interesting because I always think of the boat here in the Solitude card, as in like navigating in some way, navigating on your own with something, feeling like we have to figure out how to approach something, how to map our journey forward, hence the symbolism of the Cartographer being at a crossroads. You know, I almost wonder, pile 1, if you're currently at a crossroads of some sort, you're trying to figure out exactly like where to go or what to do in terms of a decision, especially too because the element of air is represented here in the Cartographer, and the Cartographer, the element of air is often associated with like we're trying to like mentally figure something out logically or like our strategy in some way. But we also have some Lenormand cards. Let's see what those say. So the first one is the Bard, or the Writer, as it's known in most decks. A message, news, information of some sort. Okay. And then the second one is, speaking of navigation, look at that. We have the Star. And literally, this is a navigator. You can see he is trying to find his way through. That is Polaris, which is the North Star. You can tell because the Big Dipper is beneath it. With a goal of some sort. That's typically what the Star represents in Lenormand. So information regarding a goal, trying to figure out our way through something. And there is that, of course, that element of being alone with the Solitude card. And then drawing in your pile leader, I almost wonder, too, if it's like you felt like you've really had to navigate the situation on intuition. Because a Priestess is someone who doesn't navigate necessarily by, like, tangible knowledge in terms of, like, you know, like mundane ways of figuring something out, I guess is the best way to put that. She is someone who really highly relies on her intuition, as I said, especially if you take into account like the traditional meaning of the priestess, as in the high priestess in tarot, okay? She's also a representative of secrets, of secret knowledge in some way. So I think what Spirit and the universe wants to help you with today, pile one, is helping you figure out how to navigate this situation and how to actually get to the goal that you're trying to achieve. The writer could also represent news of some sort. They might be trying to give you a bit of a heads up that there's like a message or information or like an announcement coming in some way, because the writer does represent that in Lenormand quite often. But so far, too, they're really recognizing that maybe you felt quite alone with this. We have a lot of lone figures here. We don't have a lot of teamwork-related imagery here, unless maybe you get the Three of Pentacles with your tarot spread. But yeah, so far it's like you just had to really navigate based on what your heart says and what your intuition says. And that's hard, pile one, because, it's not always easy to trust our intuition. And two, you have the symbol of the moon repeated quite often, not just with the moon and eclipse here above the priestess. It's kind of small in the camera. I'm not sure you can see it, but there is like an eclipsed moon right above her head. Like the light has been kind of obscured, so she has to find her way through her own gut feeling rather than through like the light of the truth around her. So it's kind of like that feeling of navigating something kind of murky. And then we have the moon too, of course, here in the star card, and there's a full moon on your solitude card. Okay. So let's grab your tarot spread. I'm curious. That will give us the more nitty-gritty context. Spirit, what would you want to say to pile one about this in terms of your advice, helping them navigate this? Thank you. 5 cards, please. First up, we have the Chariot. And that moon is represented again. We have a crescent moon, of course, but Chariot is about taking the reins over something, taking control, reigning in chaos of some sort. Second up, we have the Fool reversed. You might also be afraid of risks. That might be part of why this is a bit of it been like maybe kind of a nail-biting crossroads for you. You're like, oh my god, what do I do? Because if I go this one way, it's like a huge risk. Or if I go this other way, like there's this risk over here. It might be kind of a rock and a hard place type of situation as well. Let's keep going. And then we have the Hermit. Look at all these major arcana. And we have that star pop up again. And the Hermit also represents, my friends, having to look within ourselves for knowledge rather than gaining knowledge from outside of ourselves. And I will tell you the same thing I always tell everybody on my channel whenever I have a reading that has a lot of major arcana. This feels like a very pivotal moment in your life. This feels like I call it a tentpole moment, because we have free will, right, pile one, but in between free will, there are certain set events, at least in my own personal beliefs in life, that are preordained or like predestined, I guess is maybe a better word to use. And for you, I feel like this situation Spirit is reaching out to you about is one of those destined things, okay? So that's part of probably why they're really like eager to be like, okay, it's pile one, I'm going to help you with this, because we know this is important to your soul path or life path, I guess is another term to use. Then the 4th card is the King of Pentacles reversed. Could mean that this is related to a business or career related thing of sort, or it could also be about resources, stability, whatnot. And then last but not least, we have the 6 of Wands. Okay, victory. Beautiful. Okay, I will tell you this, pile one. And maybe this is literally the only thing you need to hear today. Of course, we have a lot more to talk about, but because of that 6 of Wands that just popped out in the outcome position, number 5, 5th card, you are on the path to victory. That's what the 6 of Wands represents, because, you even think about the way that a peacock shows its feathers. It's associated as a symbol of pride, as, they're very beautiful, and they show off this thing that they have created, or who they are in some way. It's displayed to the world. Okay, so it's very public victory too. So I'm going to tell you this. If you're worried about failure, please don't, because you're on the path to victory as we speak. You have your eyes on the prize. You're doing probably a lot better than you think you are, okay? Especially because of the way that you have been navigating so far based on your intuition. As I said earlier, that's not easy. It is not easy to navigate based on just what our gut says. A lot of times as we go through our life, we want tangible evidence that a certain path will work. We want tangible things that tell us, like you would be if you were literally at a crossroads, right? There would be a sign there saying, take this path to go to this particular town or to this particular location nearby, okay, whatever it might be. And life often doesn't really have crossroads that have those markings. So Spirit is commending you for trusting your intuition so far. And part of your advice here, kind of leaning into the advice section of this reading now, is to keep doing it because you have the Hermit as your heart of the matter, as well as, of course, like the Star, too, is like navigating based on your hope or your goal or your dream. They're telling you have the right instinct. So also, if you're facing a crossroads in terms of like a literal choice of paths, whatever your gut intuition tells you, even if you doubt it, Spirit is kind of saying that actually is the right path to take. As long as you know deep down that is what your instinct or your intuition is telling you. Okay, so some of you, that might be the main part of the reading you need to hear is just an affirmation that yes, you were on the correct path for the way that you feel that you should go. So, in fact, if I really had to describe the Priestess even more here, really the Priestess in this situation is you, Pile 1. You're the one having to navigate just based on that hidden knowledge that inherently isn't really knowledge because it's uncertainty, of course, but when we trust our intuition, it often does not guide us wrong. So you are incorrect. You are correct for doing that, okay? And I feel like, too, part of this thing, whatever it is you're trying to do, is it's either like gaining more control over your life or it's like gaining more control over the chaos of something, trying to drive forward in some way because of that element of the Chariot as your inciting incident card. I call the first card in my particular spread I like to use. Now, you might have had some bumps already. I do see that maybe because of the Fool reversed in the second position. The Fool reversed can mean we tried to start something new and we've fallen into maybe some risks. There's been some speed bumps perhaps, or even if there haven't been tangible ones, we're kind of afraid that there will be, or we're afraid that maybe it hasn't been as smooth as it could be. Could even be that you're just being a bit too hard on yourself because, when I see the Hermit as the heart of the matter, as I said before, that Spirit saying, well, you know what, Pile 1, you haven't really been guiding yourself wrong so far. Okay, so just keep following that intuition. Keep going with it. They're also commending you for having done this alone because of that Solitude card. This really is, I think, a part of your life journey that is meant to teach you even more about victory through solely your own merits and through your own skills and blood and sweat and tears and all those things. So pat yourself on the back for that. Now we do have the King of Pentacles reversed as near future / sometimes I use that as the advice position in my spread. And the King of Pentacles reversed in an advice position can mean needing to do more in terms of gaining resources to help you, because the Pentacles suit in tarot is Earth, which is all about money, our stability, security, whatnot, career. It could also mean that you're being encouraged in a direction with this to take leadership in terms of business, or it could also mean, too, that there's an element here of somebody represented by that energy of the King of Pentacles that has been a bit of a blockage to you. And a King of Pentacles reversed, to help you identify like who Spirit is talking about, apologies for the sirens in the background, a King of Pentacles reversed as a person would represent someone that tends to be masculine energy, could also be someone that is in a position of power within a career or job or business, but that reversed energy means that they aren't necessarily really doing the best with it. They might be withholding resources from you. That could be maybe why you're being asked in terms of advice to pivot to try to find more resources outside that blockage, if this is a person that you recognize here with that King of Pentacles. It can also mean someone that is kind of greedy with their resources. They haven't been very forthcoming or generous with their resources to share with you. That might not even be necessarily money. It could also just be time. Hence maybe why the Solitude and the Hermit themes have been so prominent in your reading. Maybe you felt alone because this person just isn't maybe working with you. That could be another way that resonates. But either way, You're being asked to step into your own leadership and kind of bypass around that particular blockage that you, however you feel the King of Pentacles reverse resonates with your own situation, pile 1. And that, my friends, even though you're already on the path to victory, but that will also help you get to that Six of Wands victory too. Now, I do have a sense that there's an announcement or news coming, and that's because of the Lenormand cards. You have, as I said, the Rider / the Bard. As well as the Star, which is reading Lenormand kind of like a sentence. It's almost like constructing pieces of a phrase together. It would mean an announcement regarding a hope or a dream or a goal. So I'm going to ask Spirit at the end here, what's this announcement about that's coming? We'll give you a bit of a glimpse here. Maybe a little bit of a glimpse. We'll see. I'm curious as the tarot reader. I'm sure you might be curious too. So, Spirit, can you tell me more? What is this announcement or news coming about their hope or their dream or their goal? 3 cards, please. So just to summarize, it kind of just is an affirmation reading with a little bit of advice here. You really have been doing quite well, especially considering that I think there's an element here of you having had to do a lot of stuff alone, and maybe not with all the most resources that you could have had maybe other factors or people in play had been more fair to you, pile 1. So let's look at this news though. We have the King of Cups, emotional maturity. Wonderful. We have the King of Wands reverse. What are all these kings doing here? You have a lot of kings. Because you have the King of Pentacles reverse, now you have the Cups and the Wands. And then we have the 10 of Cups. Beautiful. Okay, so let me look at this. Because court cards can always represent people, just like the King of Pentacles did. And a King of Cups upright could be masculine, tends to be older, someone who is emotionally mature, or it could be a water sign too. Same thing too with the King of Wands reversed, although being reversed, it's sometimes someone that's kind of the negative of the King of Wands. So that would be a fire sign, masculine, but maybe is a bit impulsive or maybe has a bit of a temper. There's something here regarding a relationship between you and these people, or like between them together. And that doesn't necessarily mean romantic. It could be like a business relationship. Because the 10 of Cups means harmony within a relationship. It's like the happily ever after of a relationship of some sort. Now, I don't know how that's going to apply to all of you. And to me as a tarot reader, I'm kind of like, well, this is out of left field because we've been talking about like an ambition of some sort. And then now we have like a relationship answer to what's the announcement or the news. But some of you might find that that resonates particularly in that way. If you're not recognizing these as people, because I do read court cards in other ways too, then I would mean, or I would interpret this to mean that there's an announcement coming regarding one of your goals where tempers have maybe been flaring, or ambition has been kind of skewed or like pointed in the wrong direction. And it's something to do with, it's like through the vehicle of delivery of someone's emotional maturity will you find happily ever after with whatever this is. Because too, when I think about this from an elemental perspective, you know, we have fire in the negative, but water in the positive, and what snuffs fire out in the negative would be water, right? So it's almost like maybe this influence of, it's like something comes along that emotionally dampens down what tempers or ambitions have been kind of askew. I almost wonder too, for some of you, this might be like a career-related thing where there's a group of people at work that are kind of in disharmony. Maybe that's why you've had to do a lot of things on your own, because other people are just so focused on like their own spats or what's going on in their little world that they're not really focusing on the big picture like you have been. So maybe you've been kind of having to deal with that a lot alone because everybody else has not really been mature enough to say, hey, wait a minute, let's get out of our squabbles. Let's focus on the big picture here. Like you maybe had to kind of be Atlas holding up the world all alone here in this particular situation. So in that case, I would say that like this is good news coming that's finally going to get things back on track. Because that's also another meaning too of the Chariot. And that was your inciting incident, remember, is like gaining control over chaos, making things equal again, holding onto the reins of something and getting things back where they're supposed to be. So really it's, if I had to summarize, it's like a good news regarding like a realignment towards more emotional happiness with the situation regarding your goal or the dream that you're working on here that we discussed earlier, okay? So good news all around. It seems like things, it's been kind of tough. It's not been easy at all, pile one. Of course, we've seen that. Spirit, as I said, just to reiterate, commends you for what you've been doing so far. It's not been easy in terms of having to shoulder that burden all alone, too. So just keep following your gut. Just keep focusing with your eyes on the prize. Just like you, even here, you look at this navigator. He's like, I am not going to worry about anything around me. I'm going to worry solely and get my focus solely on that Polaris, that North Star, to get where I'm supposed to go. And as long as you do that, pile one, look at it from the bird's eye view and, okay, what's our overarching goal here with this? Everything else seems like it will kind of fall into place because of some news coming that will help bring that harmony back into the situation. All right. And also, that other thing with the King of Pentacles reversed, don't be afraid to take leadership where you can. All right. Maybe that's really what's been going on, is nobody's been taking leadership, and it would be a good opportunity for you to be the one to take the reins of leadership to get everyone back on track. Okay. That might be another just little last piece of advice. So beautiful. That was your reading for today, your message from the universe. I hope that you liked it. I hope that it resonated. I hope, of course, most of all, that it helped you. That's my number one concern with my readings, that you walk away feeling, as I always say, like you have another tool in your toolbox to face life with. So if all those things apply, please like the video, please comment, please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And thank you so much if you choose to do any one of those three things, if not more. And for those of you that have seen my channel before, you know what's coming in our tradition. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, Pile 1. Hello there, my wonderful Pile 2. Welcome to your important message from the universe reading. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to Destiny as your Pile leader. So a little bit of a switch up today. We're actually going to draw your Oracle cards first before your Tarot cards. So let's begin with that. Calling on Spirit for a wonderful Pile 2 today. What is it that you want them to know? What is the message that is most important for them to hear right now? Thank you. Okay, there is your first Lenormand and the second. Beautiful. And then we have the Citadel Oracle. Oh, well, that was fast. That one just came flying out. We'll take it. Thank you, Spirit. Saves me from having to shuffle. I love when cards just fly out. And then last but not least, we have the Sacred Destiny Oracle. Let's see what that deck has to say for your message. There we go. Awesome sauce. Okay, let's reveal your Oracle cards, Pile 2. So we'll start with the Sacred Destiny. You received love. Love. We have some roses, almost looks like peonies alongside them. Very beautiful. And of course, love can manifest in many different ways. The love of something near and dear to our hearts. Of course, other people, we think of romantic relationships, but also platonic in our family. We'll see what the other cards say before we say for sure. We have from Lenormand the Tower / the Fortress. Tends to represent authority or safety, protection in some way. And then the second Lenormand for you today is the Lily. Lily is multifaceted. It can represent sexuality, because we do have love that came up, right? It can also represent purity in some way. It can represent also elderly family members. So we'll see. Let's look at your Citadel Oracle, last but not least. We have the Fate. Oh, it's funny because look what your pile leader was. We had Destiny, synonyms of one another. And it says, accepting help and guidance with the element of fire. So, reading your Lenormand as a sentence, this two cards would represent protecting purity, protecting a family member of some sort in terms of, as the lily is associated with elderly family members, sometimes can also mean protecting or having authority regarding, what an interesting twist. Then we have the Fate and Destiny too. being focused on the future, what is ahead of us, because that's also really heavily emphasized. You know, pile 2, I almost wonder, it took a second for it to click, so that's why I was kind of hesitating. I was like, well, what's this all about? Then it clicked. I think there's a major uncertainty in your life that has been plaguing you for quite a while. And when I say uncertainty, I mean it in terms of its relevance to your fate / your destiny. I feel like there's something in your life that you have kind of resigned yourself to in terms of thinking. It's ironic because I said there's like an uncertainty, but at the same time, it's like you have felt a certainty that, well, this is just the way things are going to be because this is the way things have always been. Now, for some of you, that might be regarding romance, because love did come up, and we do have the lily, which can mean sexuality in some way, right? But it can also mean, an inevitability that you feel you can't run away from regarding platonic relationships. Maybe you've had a really hard struggle throughout your entire life with making friends in a platonic way. It could also mean a struggle in terms of like familial love. Maybe you've always kind of had struggles in that way, and it's like you're like, I'm never going to get that thing, and it's just inevitable that this will never work out, because oftentimes that happens because we have a lot of disappointments in that area of our life, right? If we've been rejected a lot, or love has been, we've been backstabbed a lot, or whatever the problem might be, say if it's a romantic thing, of course we're going to look at the future and be like, well, that's the way it's always been, so that's probably the way it's always going to be. Or, if family kind of failed you throughout your early life up until now, same thing. We're always like, well, what does family mean to me? Because it feels like family has always failed me. Maybe the blood of the covenant has always been thicker than the water of the womb for you. And then same thing too with friends. Maybe you kind of feel separated from society a lot. You feel very lonely, or you feel like you just don't, I don't know, that kind of square peg in a round hole feeling, especially because of the depiction of this female figure here in Destiny. She's looking off towards the horizon and almost looks like an eclipse of some sort. And she's got 2 sparklers in her hand, but she's all alone in this black void. And so it just makes me feel that, I don't know, it gives me this energy off of you of like you feel distant or like separated or severed in some way, especially too because when you look at fate as well, it's a shears cutting a string. Like we've been cut off from something. And that's another thing too that the fortress can mean. I just remember this now in terms of Lenormand. The fortress can kind of mean that we're like separated in some way, because what does a wall do but keep people out, right? Keep people in, keep people out. So, and I wonder, this is kind of a side message, some of you might be starseeds. I know starseeds reportedly tend to feel a bit square peg and round hole-ish with Earth, or just maybe you're an old soul in general too. It doesn't necessarily mean a starseed, but I mean it can. It's kind of the vibe I'm getting off of you, but it's just an old soul in general too, where it's like you just feel like you don't fit in here. You feel like you were born here, and you're like, what am I doing here? When I feel like you feel like an alien in a whole world of people that look like you, but at a soul level, it just feels, as I said, it's that square peg in a round hole feeling. So that's what Spirit wants to address with you today. Now, I'm not seeing a particular situation where this has cropped up. We'll probably see that in your tarot spread when I draw that, which actually, let me do that right now as I'm talking. But for some reason, they want you to think about this in some way. And as I said before, there's something about the irony between feeling like something is an inevitability versus something being, I don't know, it's like you still have hope in it, or something happened recently that made you feel as if there's a little spark of hope in this area, or maybe you've been searching for that spark of hope. You're like, Spirit, please give me something that will prove everything I've been through wrong in terms of suffering when it comes to your connections with other people, be it family, friends, romantic partners, etc. So, yeah, let's see what your tarot cards say. The Four of Wands reversed, feeling an instability in the home, feeling like we're not at home. Okay, that's that square peg and round hole feeling. It could also mean that for a lot of you, this is actually related to family, because the Four of Wands is the card of stability in the home, but reversed, it's the sensation of like, I don't feel safe here. which is another meaning of the fortress as being safe in some way because of those defensive walls. Maybe you've had to cut off family recently, or you're thinking about it too, or it could be, as I said, friends or a romantic partner as well, because there's something about them that has harmed your sense of stability, and maybe this is why this is coming up as like an overarching life theme for you, is because it's like another slap in the face of like, oh man, this again. Like, I thought I had hope that it wouldn't happen again, but here I am getting backstabbed, or here I am experiencing this thing that you're sitting there saying, I wish it wouldn't happen again, but here we are. That kind of sensation. Because I feel like a bit of a disappointment here, pile 2. Like an, oh, this again? That sort of sensation. Oh, look at that. Now we have the 6 of Cups reversed. Yeah, a lot of you, this is family. Maybe a sibling of some sort, too. Because the 6 of Cups tends to represent siblings, and reversed, it's, we didn't have maybe necessarily the greatest relationship with people in our past, and how this reading is resonating, okay? Probably family for a lot of you, but not all of you. You can also mean like a partner that you were with for a long time. And then we have Death with the axolotl as your central heart of the matter card. And Death is all about change. Death is all about letting go of what was to make room for what will become. Then we have the 5 of Swords, conflict with the stingray. I believe that's what that is. And last but not least, we have the 9 of Cups, emotional satisfaction. You know, it's a really good sign though, pile 2. Because here we have all this disappointment in the very beginning. We have this instability in the home, bad negative experiences from our past or childhood, family, etc. Friends from childhood, partner we've been with for a long time, etc. But then we come to the hub of change with Death as your heart of the matter. A lot of you aren't going to believe me when I say it. Because as I said before, a lot of you are going to be like, this is a theme in my life. This is never going to change. Whatever this thing that has been ailing you, that is making you feel, well, alienated. Making you feel as if you're separate. Making you feel as if there's this one particular thing that was never meant for you in your fate or your destiny. Death is change. Okay? Death is the action of taking, as I said, what was and making something new out of it. It's like a phoenix almost. Dies to the ashes, something new is reborn. And you even have fire too with your fate card. It is the fire element with that upright triangle. And there you go, there's a shears over that string of fate. The strings of fate are being cut. Things are changing. I think Spirit is giving you a heads up that there's something coming in your near future that's going to change your perspective on this alienation or this feeling that you would never have whatever it is that you feel like has been withheld from you by the universe or by fate. However you prefer, okay? And a lot of you aren't going to believe me. And I get it. 100% pile 2. I've been there myself. I've been like, man, there's no way this good thing will ever happen because every experience I have had in the past has proven to me and shown me that just wasn't meant for me. But as a tarot reader, this reading is screaming to me, yes, this is going to change for you. Probably you won't even believe it as it's happening. You'll be like, what? What is this? This is quite the curveball. Now, it's interesting, though, because in the near future, you have the 5 of Swords and you have the 9 of Cups. And the 5 of Swords tends to represent a time of conflict. And the 9 of Cups represents emotional satisfaction, feeling like we are enjoying something after having worked the emotional labor to get it. I'm interested in that 5 of Swords, though, more so. Because the 9 of Cups is a great outcome, but the 5 of Swords, as I said, is that conflict. I'm actually going to ask Spirit for a clarifier on the 5 of Swords. I have an intuitive feeling that I know what it means, but let's just be sure. Spirit, can you tell me more about that 5 of Swords as the conflict? I think that, what I mean is in terms of what I feel intuitively, pile 2, is I think that's going to be the mechanism of the change after the Death card. Oh, apologies for the sirens in the background if you hear that. Lots of sirens today. We have the 7 of Pentacles, planting the seeds for something new. Yes, okay, so something new is coming into your life with this. And then we have the Page of Wands. exploring our ambitions, our passions, our creativity with something. The Page of Wands can also represent a person, and a person that's a Page of Wands tends to be youthful, either physically, literally, or youthful in terms of their energy, their nature, their personality. And a fire sign most likely, or someone that is youthful in the way that they pursue their creativity or their passions. This is going to sound weird. Okay, so I'm going to interpret it for 3 different potential ways. For those of you that are recognizing this as romantic, as in terms of romance has always shot me in the back, there's no way I'll ever find love. If that's your perspective, right? Spirit is telling you there's something coming in terms of a person that is new in your life that, oh, this is the weird part. You're going to be at conflict with them at first. I don't really see it as necessarily like enemies to lovers. Oh, maybe it is though. I don't know. Because the 5 of Swords is like conflict. Oh God, all of you are going to be like, what are you, what is this? Anyways. Obviously it works out in the end because I think for you that are seeing this as romantic, I think that actually might be a partner that changes your perspective and then brings you that emotional satisfaction that you were looking for with the 9 of Cups. And I know a lot of you are going to be like, what? Especially because, I don't know, maybe it'll be like a Elizabeth Bennet, Mr. Darcy situation. Maybe it is enemies to lovers. But, or that if you already maybe are in a relationship right now, you're recognizing that as resonating with who you're with right now. Maybe you weren't like the best of friends at first. But then a seed was planted and you realized, oh, they have this energy that I'm drawn to, that youthful, creative passion, or passionate energy with that Page of Wands, okay? Okay, could also be for if you're talking about more like platonic relationships. Maybe you've had a hard time making friends, throughout your entire life. Maybe you've been kind of disconnected from the world just because of, sometimes we just don't really feel like our soul resonates with a lot of different people. Same thing, except take the romance out of it. I think you're going to meet someone that's going to change your perspective. You might not get along with them at first because of that 5 of Swords, right? Which also, for all of you, that might mean in terms of verbal battles. Maybe you're kind of both witty. Maybe you kind of verbally spat a lot. Lightheartedly, perhaps. But then they change your perspective. And then that would also apply to this particular friend. They would be a youthful fire sign or creative, ambitious, passionate. Someone new because of the 7 of Pentacles. It could also mean that you guys are meeting this particular person when you're starting a new business venture or starting a new job or a new career, because the 7 of Pentacles is planting a new seed in those areas of your life. Because it's like when you're looking for something in terms of your career, business, or resources, or home-related situation too, that could sometimes be what the Pentacles refers to. That's when you meet this person and you're like, oh, this shifts my perspective. Okay. Which, I just realized that, duh. Because you look, I think that's a red panda, right? Well, what is the red panda doing? He's literally upside down, shifting his perspective on something. I just clicked as I said that. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, that's funny. And then same thing, too. If this is family, interpreting that for you, or you feel like maybe family has always kind of failed you and you've been having issues with that recently, same thing. There's going to be someone entering your life soon, or if it is like family related, it's someone that is maybe like you didn't have a close connection with when you were younger in your family, that they're going to come back in some way and help you shift your perspective on that. It almost kind of feels like to me, from a spiritual point of view, that this is like a soul contract related thing. And for those of you not familiar with the term, what I mean is that, at least in my personal belief, before we come to Earth and we are incarnated in this particular life, we have a contract of sorts with not only ourselves, with, what are we going to learn in this life? What are we going to do in this life? What themes are we going to struggle with, etc. But also with other people in our soul circle, I guess is one term, or soul family, whatever you choose. Souls that you incarnate with, okay? And this person feels like a soul contract person to you. This is like, okay, we both agreed before we came here, we're going to agree to learn this thing together, okay? That maybe is why it kind of feels like enemies to lovers a little bit, or enemies to friends, or, distant family relation to now we're close family relation. It's interesting, because I think what it is meant to teach you, Spirit is saying, is to learn that perspective on that particular area of your life, be it romance, friendship, family, whatever it is for you, was incorrect. That person is a part of that soul contract to show you, well, actually, life can be this way. It breaks your idea of, well, this is how it's always been, so this is how it's always fated to be. And as I said, a lot of you aren't going to believe me. You're going to be like, what? As I said, I've been there too myself, where it's been like, well, that's always been that way. I don't feel like that's ever going to change. But life can really surprise you, especially when it comes to soul contract things, because, we wish things would have happened in a more happy manner when we were younger. We wish we would have gotten things or received things sooner. But, at least me personally, Pile 2, I'm a believer in divine timing. And this really does feel like divine timing because of that soul contract aspect to your reading. So really, just to summarize your reading today, is Spirit saying, buckle up. You're going to get a point of view perspective shift here because of this person entering your life soon. But it's a good thing, because in the end, you have the 9 of Cups. All right, that's emotional satisfaction. That's the dog that got the bone finally, or finally caught the, I don't know what a dogs chase. Male vans? I don't know. I'm more of a cat person. I love dogs too, but the dog that finally got the bone. Or how about the cat that finally got the fish or the cream? There you go. It's that satisfaction. That realizing through the connection with whoever this person is that the thing you thought was not possible is. Beautiful. So, prepare for that, Pile 2. That's what Spirit wants to tell you today. So, I hope you liked the reading. I hope you felt that it resonated. I hope that it helped you. And if so, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you so much if you choose to do any one of those 3 things, if not more. And as we always say in our traditional Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, Pile 2. Full of lots of happy surprises, right? And I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye. Hello there, my wonderful Pile number 3. Welcome to your Pick a Card important message from the universe reading for today. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to curiosity as your Pile leader with the keywords of bored versus curious. And how fitting we have a cat. As the saying goes, curiosity killed the cat. But satisfaction brought it back. So to start your reading, we're actually going to do a bit of a switcheroo today. Usually I do tarot first, but we're going to start with your Oracle and your Lenormand. So calling on Spirit for Pile 3, message from the universe. What do you want them to know that's most important right now? Okay, there's your Lenormand for today. Then next up to the plate we have Citadel Oracle. Actually, there we go. Beautiful. I actually have 2 cards. Excuse me. We have the Catalyst and the Spy Master, but both the element of fire. So we'll unveil those more in a second. And then last but not least, we have the Sacred Destiny Oracle for you. And let's choose that one. So, from Sacred Destiny today, you received Standstill. We have, it almost looks like a mangrove marsh or swamp. The World War II different opposites meet with land versus water, being at a liminal boundary of sorts. And then from Lenormand today, you have the Woman, and you have the Rider, or the Bard as it's known in this particular deck. Talk about that more in a moment. Excuse me, my voice is a bit scratchy. And then last but not least, we have your 2 Citadel Oracle cards we did see already. The Catalyst with radical changes and taking control. And the Spy Master with knowledge and distrust. So let me look over these for just a moment, Pile 3. We have Curiosity, Standstill. And the Lenormand would represent, in one phrase, something to do with a feminine figure in your life. Could be yourself, if you identify as feminine, right? or some other feminine figure in your life, that there's news or some sort of announcement or message regarding this person, be it, as I said, yourself or some other female figure in your life. And looking at your other oracle cards, I feel like it's like you've been wondering when something's going to change with this person. You're wondering, like, perhaps for a while it's been in some sort of stasis, and I say that because of the standstill card. You're like, man, I want this thing to go forward with this person, or I want this situation with this person to go forward, or something in your own life. If you're recognizing that woman as yourself, you're like, man, I've been stuck at this standstill. Now I want things to kind of finally start moving in some sort of momentum. And Spirit basically is saying that the message today is something that will alert you to some inciting incident that will bring you that momentum. It's knowledge that will bring you understanding of what the catalyst would be for that. I think it's probably something that will be in your control too, because of the taking control message of the catalyst, okay? Lots of fire. Fire tends to represent our ambitions, our passions, our creativity as well. Let's grab your tarot cards. That will give us the full picture here, pile 3. So if you've been kind of stuck in some way in your life recently, this is probably good news for you. Probably being like, oh, finally, the universe finally answered me on this thing that's been in stasis for so long. I want it to break free and change into something else. Okay, first up from tarot today, we have the Chariot reverse. Speaking of taking control, because guess what the Chariot reverse means, pile 3? It means we do not have control over something, but we wish that we did. Yep. Maybe something's been kind of chaotic. Maybe that's why it's been in a standstill. You're kind of waiting for things to settle down before you go forward with it. Then we have the 4 of Pentacles, reserving our energy or reserving our resources in some way. Just like this. I believe that's an armadillo, right? Holding on, hiding in his shell. Then we have the King of Wands reversed. Having a blockage of some sort in an external manifestation with our ambitions. Because we have that fire again, just like we had on the 2 Citadel Oracle cards. But then King of Wands is also fire. And it could also mean, too, that some of you might resonate with the message that as the court cards can represent people, that something's been blocking you in this area or this feminine figure, if you're not identifying that as yourself, where it's like either someone who is masculine and a fire sign or someone who is currently in a role of authority or power with this ambition or creativity related thing or this passion that isn't doing it right, or they're not using their authority correctly, or they're lacking confidence in some way too. That can be another interpretation of the King of Wands reversed, because typically it's a very charismatic figure, not afraid to be like, here I am world, right? Reversed, it's like, oh, the shy lion kind of hiding like a mouse. Okay, so let's keep going. Then we have the Queen of Cups, another court figure. Queen of Cups can be a feminine figure, maybe this one. That is a water sign, secure in her emotions. Then we have the 5 of Cups as the last card. Okay, 5 of Cups can represent a hardship or a loss of some sort, or like an emotional sadness. Now, don't run away from the reading the moment I say that. Don't run. Because I'm not necessarily seeing this as a set in stone thing. I think what Spirit is reaching out to you about is that you think it's going to turn out in this way because of the 5 of Cups here as the final position card. But something is coming that will change that because of that energy of the catalyst alongside like everything else that we've been seeing, this knowledge coming your way, this news, this announcement. So I almost wonder, pile 3, if this is a project that, like you've had to pause, or it's been so chaotic you've had to kind of let go of the reins of it for a while, or maybe even able to take the reins. You're like, man, I can't even get a control over this, or this feminine figure hasn't been able to, and maybe you're trying to help them, but it's like just nothing is going anywhere productive, at least so far. And it's like you see this situation as there's no way out. There's no way that this is going to be turn out to be anything less than like a loss of some sort because of that Five of Cups here at the very end, at least what you're thinking, right? However, all of this hinges on the King of Wands reversed as your heart of the matter. Now, so far, you have, I think, embodied that energy of the Four of Pentacles, or this feminine figure has, in terms of, well, it's been kind of chaotic. I'm not sure this is going to turn out well, so I'm going to hold on to my resources. I'm not sure I'm going to invest in this a lot. But what Spirit is actually telling you with that King of Wands reversed, jumping back to that for a second, before I got on the little side thing about the Four of Pentacles, is you might be not giving it enough of a chance, I guess is what I would say. Because of that element of the King of Wands, meaning needing to have more confidence in something, especially when he is reversed. So pile 3, I think if you are currently at a crossroads where this project you think is going to fail, it's been at a standstill, there's no way to rein it in, if you're wondering whether or not to give it up, the answer is, if you can find any way to feel confident and to exude confidence in this thing going well, that might be the exact catalyst that will help change this away from what you think will be a total loss. Sometimes it almost feels like, what's that term? Like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's a situation, pile 3, where if you think it will fail, you and other people in this situation might act like it will fail. Therefore, because of self-fulfilling prophecy, it will. However, if you turn the reins around, if you grab control over the chaos going on, if you maybe invest in it a little bit more, wisely, of course. I mean, you know your situation better than I do, pile 3. But if you find it in your capability and your resources to invest in it more and to inspire more confidence in whatever this is, you will find that the fate of this thing can turn around. You can get it going again. You don't have to leave it at a standstill. You don't have to just assume that, like, oh, it's all for naught, this is all just gonna go crashing like, I don't know, the Hindenburg, blah, explosion, right? Really what this is, from a spiritual perspective, this whole situation, is Spirit asking you, do you want it enough? If you want it enough, you'll find a way to make it work, and therefore the cogs of fate will turn to help you achieve what it is that you're looking for. If you don't want it enough, then naturally because of like the way that you invest your efforts or you invest your time or your focus, it's, as I said, that self-fulfilling prophecy of, well, then of course it's going to fail. Okay, so wherever you are in life right now where you're finding this is resonating, don't give up just because of a first glance assumption that there might be trouble or that there might be problems. I think too, confidence might be playing a role in this for you, pile 3. I almost wonder if you, it could be like imposter syndrome. It could also just be perfectionism in some way. It could also be that maybe, I don't know, just like your lack of belief in your own leadership too, because that can be another manifestation of the King of Wands reversed. Whatever is the reason, Spirit is saying, we don't really understand why you're feeling not so confident about this thing. It's kind of like, I don't know, to me, at least the way I see it as a tarot reader with these cards, it's like, what's the best way to put it? I don't know, just in general, pile 3, it's like, if you want it to work, you will make it work, and it will work, okay? It's like the universe waiting for you to throw your all back into whatever this is again. And that will be the mechanism, the catalyst that changes it back towards where you want it to go, okay? Now, that doesn't mean you have to do that. It doesn't mean you have to invest more in this. Spirit is saying you have a choice. It's a crossroads. It's not a, oh yes, you should. You have to do this. No. Spirit will never tell you that, most of the time at least. But if you want to make it work, it can work. So maybe really what this reading is just kind of a confidence boost too. Maybe really what you need to hear from Spirit today is yes, this is possible. You think it's impossible, but it's not. All right. That Five of Cups is interesting. I might draw some clarifiers on that as well. We also have with the Queen of Cups. I didn't even talk about her much yet. She mostly is a card that reminds us in terms of advice to believe in our heart, to listen to what our heart says. Yeah. Let's look at that Five of Cups. Spirit, can you clarify the Five of Cups a little bit more? Okay, we have the Five of Wands reversed. Yeah, it's kind of like giving up the fight. Kind of giving up the fight to get away from the pain of something because of the Three of Swords reversed. I see. And that's why, pile 3, I don't think you, like as I said, you don't have to choose this path. But if you really want it to work, you can make it work. There is a way. I think what maybe is stopping you, or what makes you think of this worst case scenario with the Five of Cups, is by clarifying it with the Five of Wands reversed and the Three of Swords reversed. It's like you just don't want to fight. You don't want the pain. I almost wonder if some of you are even in an argument with this feminine figure in some way. Maybe it's that she has a certain will that she wants to be impressed upon, like the outcome of this. It could even be that there's a project that you've been working on, or this goal, dream, whatever it is, and she doesn't want to make it work. So you're like, well, maybe I'll just kind of give in because I just don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to fight. Which, is understandable, pile 3, because sometimes in life we think to ourselves, well, if I just take the harmonious path, even though I don't get what I want, at least then I don't have to deal with the conflict of, upsetting whatever this person or whoever this person is, if you're recognizing her as an outside person outside of yourself. But Spirit might also be telling you need to stand up for yourself some more with this. Yeah, I mean, they're strongly emphasizing, I'm sorry to repeat it again, pile 3, you don't have to do this, but they're saying, well, why do you feel as if you have to give up too? It's like the moment this person stepped in, you were like, oh, it's an inevitability, I guess I'll just kind of give up on this. I don't know, I don't want to fight, I don't want the pain. But if you feel in your heart that this is something you really, really want, Spirit is saying that is your nudge from the universe to fight for it, okay? I will draw also some extra advice cards on how to pursue this for those of you that still want to pursue it, because I think that also might be part of what's holding you back, is that you're kind of just not even sure how to tackle this, especially if it's, say, someone that's in a position of power, like this feminine figure. For some of you, tangibly, as an example, it might be there's a thing you want to do at work, but you have a feminine manager who is trying to tamp this idea down, or just trying to nip it in the bud, or it could be maybe a family member has been trying to discourage you from something, or whatever it is, and it's you don't want to rock the boat with them, but then Spirit's well, but you really want it, don't you? Yeah, okay, let's do some advice. Spirit, what's the advice on this for pile 3? If they want to rock the boat. The Ace of Swords. Present it logically. And really emphasize how this is a new idea, because that's what the Ace of Swords represents at its core. This is a new energy in the realm of air or the mind, logic, ideas, etc. Then we have, look at all this air energy. You need to lean into some air energy here, pile 3. Knight of Swords is I take action with the way I communicate, or the way I show the logic of something. Okay. And then we have swords again. Okay, lots of swords. With the Eight of Swords, free yourself. And also the other aspect of the Eight of Swords tends to mean we think we're trapped, but we're not, and we have a way out if we would just push our will towards freeing ourselves from whatever this is. So maybe that's really what it comes down to, pile 3. It's not even so much that you think, well, I don't want to rock the boat. Maybe you think you can't rock the boat. Like, oh, I'll overstep, or oh, I'll upset somebody. If you want this thing, Spirit is saying, rock the boat. Be confident, because that was the main issue before with the King of Wands reversed, is this feeling of like, oh, I don't know. I'm not so confident about this, you know. You can. Okay, you can. And you have a right, pile 3, to at least voice what it is that you want. Okay, now we know in life that we don't always get what we want. But if the person on the other end of this is a good person, they'll understand that you have the right at least to voice what it is you desire. Okay? And if you, say, are presenting this to somebody, maybe that's really the main fear you have is like, well, how do I present this? I don't know. Are they going to think I'm stupid or the idea is dumb or whatever? This is what Spirit is saying. Say, this is a really good new idea. It's a fresh idea. That's what the Ace of Swords represents. Say, this is how we logically would go about it. Appeal to the mind rather than the heart, because maybe that's kind of what you've been doing so far with the Queen of Cups earlier. She's someone that appeals to the heart, okay? And yes, I understand that it might be very near and dear to your heart, whatever this thing is. Like, say if you already attempted it and then it got shot down. Try it from the perspective of, this is logically why I want to do this thing. This is logically why we should go in this direction, because you have swords so emphasized here, okay? So take action. Also take action quickly. That's another piece of advice here. The Knight of Swords is the fastest knight in all of tarot. Quickly, okay? And then the Eight of Swords reversed is, yes, free yourself. You don't have to keep this inside. Maybe that's really what this news is here, pile 3. That, remember the writer of the Bard? It was like, oh, news or announcement or message regarding a feminine energy here, figure, whatever. Maybe Spirit is saying you need to announce whatever this is. Or they're encouraging you to if you would like to, okay? And then I'm going to look at that Spy Master card one more time. I'm being drawn to that for some reason. So we have a crow, or it could be a raven, I suppose, with knowledge and distrust. And then the catalyst, yes, with radical changes and taking control. You know, I almost wonder if the person on the other end, if this is another person you're recognizing this as, is waiting for you to stand up and fight for this. To show that you really want whatever this is. That's kind of almost what it feels like to me. So unless you fight for it, pile 3, they might not believe in the idea, or they might not believe in your conviction in whatever it is. But if you turn that around and embody that energy of the King of Wands, I'm confident, this is what I want, and then also the air energy we talked about with all the swords here of, logically, this is a great idea. Here's our strategy with this. Here's how I would implement it. You know, cross all the T's, dot all the I's. I think that's how you would be able to gain control over this and get it going. Okay? It's not necessarily that this was a bad thing if you have felt a rejection of some sort. It's just that you might need to shift the way that you portray your enthusiasm for it, and also the way that you explain the benefits of it. All right. That's kind of what I'm seeing in summary here. And that will move you from the standstill. That will get you away from that outcome of the Five of Cups of feeling like, oh, well, you know, yeah, it's a loss, but don't fear conflict, pile 3, okay? Stand up for yourself. Say, this is what I want. And you might just find that the universe will reward you in return through that confidence, okay? So that was your message for today from the universe. I hope that it helped you. I hope that you liked it. I hope that it resonated. If so, you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, all those good things. And thank you so much if you choose to do any one of those 3 things, if not more. And as we say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 3.